in Republican strategist Noel McPoor and Peter Emerson, a Huffington Post contributor and a veteran of 3 Democratic administrations. Good afternoon to both of you.
Good afternoon.
Hey, Chanel.
Noel, let's start with you. A new article in the Washington Post is revealing more details about the circumstances of that interview with the New York Times. It says not a single aide or advisor was present at the table, and not a single aide or advisor knew about it in advance. How problematic is that for the White House?
Well, first of all, you've got to understand Mar-a-Lago. Mar-a-Lago, I've been there several times. It's a fantastic club. It's a beautiful club. And he's relaxed there. He's at home there. I mean, he lives there. And there are a lot of staff there. There are a lot of people that are around there. But when Donald Trump is talking to someone or he's doing something, they'll hold back. I mean, he is the king of Mar-a-Lago. Mm-hmm. And I think what the interview showed is that he was relaxed. He was talking to the reporter, and the aides probably didn't like it because they didn't really have any control over it. But with that said, as everybody knows, really nobody has much control over Donald Trump, and I think he likes it that way. And you know, he's gotten a lot of things passed. He's gotten a lot of good things done, and Mar-a-Lago is his stomping ground. So you know, I'm sure that the aides, I'm sure a lot of people did not like that, but you've got to understand the atmosphere of Mar-a-Lago is very relaxed, and,
have you been there?
He's at home.
Sorry to interrupt. Have you
Yes,
been?
I've been there several. I have, and it's beautiful. It's a wonderful place, and you know, I've known many members there, and I've gone there, and it's a relaxing, beautiful place. And not only that, but a lot of the people that work there, a lot of the staff, have been there many years, and he's very good to his employees. So it's a great atmosphere. So obviously, he was very relaxed. He was at home, and he was on secure grounds.
Is he? You know, I think for a lot of people who have no concept of what it's like. I mean, is he roaming around? I mean, is he too accessible there, or you know, does he know most of the people?
He does, and a lot of the members, I mean, they love him. It's like I said, it's over the top. It's a beautiful place, and people have come in and out of there as guests. It's lovely. Everybody is over the top nice. Very wonderful atmosphere. And he, you know, this is where he's been coming for many winters. A lot of people from, you know, the East Coast come down to Florida, and you know, this is where he lives. You know, his family comes. You know, the children and his grandchildren, and it's a lovely property, and he feels at home there. So you've got to understand the atmosphere of Mar-a-Lago.
Let me take it a step further, Peter. That report also took a closer look at how the president spends his time there at Mar-a-Lago, and it's like she just mentioned. You know, it says on Christmas Eve, Trump actually walked to the buffet and made his own plate, providing guests with yet another opportunity to interact with the president. You worked for 3 different administrations. What do you think the reaction is inside the White House when they learned about these kinds of interactions? And I will say this, is there an argument to be made that perhaps it's a good thing? You know, we often say we don't want our presidents living in a bubble, if you will. Is it good that he can kind of be out and about with people?
It's always great for the president to be out and about with the people. I wouldn't say that Mar-a-Lago hosts normal, average Americans. I've been there as well. I think Noel hit it perfectly when she said that Trump considers himself the king. It's like the court of Versailles. It's these supplicants now who obviously with memberships, and I hope, Noel, you get a discount given your wonderful advertisement for Mar-a-Lago, that are there to obviously try to do business with the president or with his aides. I love when presidents get out amongst the people, but going to Mar-a-Lago is very different than Obama going to a fast food chain and talking to the people who are barely making a living flipping hamburgers.
So, Peter, I guess what I was trying to say, if you're one of his aides, then are you frustrated by this?
Well, if you are, then you really need to start practicing this mantra: let go, let Trump, let go, let Trump. Because at this point, after a year, if you haven't gotten your Trump legs, so to speak, the way mariners get their legs when they've been at sea a long time, then probably you should look for a different job.
Ooh, Noel, I want to ask you about a different Washington Post report that crunched some numbers from the New York Times interview. It found that President Trump made 24 false or misleading claims in just the span of 30 minutes. Is there any defense for that?
No.
Well, you know, the interview was off the cuff. The interview was relaxed. You know, and if Trump feels like he made a mistake on something, or if he feels like he wants to correct something he said in the interview, he's got a right to correct himself if he wants to. And if he doesn't believe what he said was not a fact, then so be it. And I can't speak for him. And really, there are no, as far as I know today, there are no Republican talking points on that interview. So, you know, with that said, I don't want to speak on behalf of the administration or Trump or the interview. But like I said, you know, he has a chance, if he feels like something was incorrect, to correct it if he wants to.
Do you think that, you know, critics will say sometimes he intentionally, misstates the facts to almost create new facts? I hate to say that, but that's what they say.
Well, I mean, you know, this president is very different. This president prides himself on not being political. So, you know, I know that's a weak argument, but he doesn't. He's a businessman. He's a real estate mogul. And what he said, I don't know. You know, to be honest with you, I really don't know. And I don't want to get myself into, you know, some sort of a conundrum on national television speaking for the president. I think it's the wrong thing for me to do. So.
Peter, let's turn to 2018 and some numbers that have Democrats feeling optimistic. Look at this. Polls are showing Democrats with a distinct advantage over Republicans on a generic ballot, averaging a 13-point lead, according to 538. But you co-authored a piece recently for the Huffington Post titled "Democrats Are in Denial, Still in Denial." What are these polls missing, in your opinion?
Well, they're missing a number of things. One, remember, the polls had Hillary Clinton winning the presidency, number one. Number two, cell phones. Number three, young people. And so ultimately, I don't believe in the polls any longer. And what Democrats are missing, that if we're going to rely on history, because history's on Democratic side in terms of midterm elections, and second, if we're going to rely on anti-Trump to win back the Senate and the House, then we're in somewhat of a delusional state, much like somebody thinking that yelling at a brown bear who's got a cub is going to keep an attack at bay. We need more than just yelling, and I don't see any evidence of that, except Democrats on the House side are identifying and recruiting candidates for every targeted district, and Republicans have not. That's where the hope is, in my mind, not so much in the polls.
Noel, Democrats need to flip 24 seats to gain control of the House and just 2 seats to gain control of the Senate. How worried should Republicans be about losing their majority? And then what's their move, their best move, in your opinion, at this point?
Well, the best move, in my opinion, and by the way, I never agree with Peter, my counterpart, and I do. He made a fantastic argument, and I agree with him about the polling and about about the polling and about how Democrats, you know, are not looking. They need to look beyond.
Well, I thought it was interesting because wasn't there, Peter? Did you mention? I don't know if I heard you correctly that there's a percentage of young people who are missing from that polling.
Yes.
I thought, but wouldn't they skew on the Democratic side?
Yes, if they turn out and vote. But we had a big problem in 2008 and then again in 2012. The Obama administration, of which I was actively supporting, we never had a call to service. We never engaged those millions of students and young people that came into the campaign. So whether or not they'll get re-engaged this coming 2018 elections or in 2020 is anybody's guess.
Noel, let me give you the last word here.
Sure. Go ahead. Well, one of the things that we're looking at is the party's ability to attract more women. You know, I think notoriously there's been a couple of articles that we're losing among college-educated women. And we're losing in that demographic. And I think that one of the things that we can do for the GOP to secure, you know, a continued success with a dominance over the House and Senate is to try to recruit more women on the GOP ticket so that we can help with recruiting. And with that said, the RNC, it's not like we're taking anything for granted. They have outraised the DNC by leaps and bounds. They have one of the healthiest fundraising initiatives going on right now as we speak. So I think they're gearing up, ready to hang on and to keep the lead in both the House and the Senate. So we are prepared for a fight, and they're raising the money to